container out there.
Yeah.
What's that? So we need the water, if that's in somebody's pickup truck, that'll give us what we need.
I had been.
The house is weird. I'm like,
How do you get pressure
Yeah.
from that water? You have a pump right up here.
Well, I actually have,
I had no heat calls.
I put on a
Yeah.
25 gallon tank with a.
Down the street bus.
2 horsepower.
Just on the street.
Yeah, because that means power, I start the rotten spots.
Yeah.
I won't be.
Have to have you over.
Okay. Oh, it won't be for a while.
Yeah, right.
We'll let you know ahead.
Yeah.
We'll just say we're gonna get that. Okay, use for. There's one that's from 17 apart.
That's, we call that the Eman Bridge.
Yeah.
It's pretty-
Oh, the other one that got built.
Yeah.
They'll both one shot either. Yep.
All right. Good. You?
Hey. This is.
I'm going up there. When you say what?
Oh, that would be.
I'm like,
Barb,
right.
Hey, Barb, you there?
What's happening?
Yeah. I didn't know what he hired. We get this. That's good. Hopefully you don't want-
We got if we got sand and clay and stuff.
yeah.
Not the door.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I gotta come back.
POS, POS.
No, I think. We're talking.
Jackie.
I need Yeah, I get, yeah, you don't want that. I don't, I just, yeah, I don't have to write on.
Stop me from here.
You want
He's the village attorney. The village is like, in the village.
I mean, it's like, I mean, you see how the people. In their.
Yeah, I'm deeply.
I didn't get a copy.
I sent everything out. Okay. And then I put copies in everybody else. Look at my feet are going free.
No, they make. They make. They want.
It is what it is.
It's the best thing to do that.
Even from your.
I listed my here.
Anything about
About mail. I knew I was gonna give you that.
that? 7:30. Call me north.
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, to the republic which stands one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Roll call, please. For the last time in recent memory, I'm going to say the two departing gentlemen first, because this will be the last time I'll be saying their names and roll call. Mr. Perino,
And for the last time, I will say I am here.
Mr. Nimitz.
Here.
Okay, we're done. No. Mr. Daly,
I hear.
Mr. Harney. Here. Mr. Thorne.
Here.
5 trustees on board. We've got a quorum. We've got a meeting. Let's continue the roll here. The minutes of April 17th, 2023. Motion so approved.
So moved, Diatley.
Second, Thor.
Moved by Diatley, seconded by Thorne to approve the minutes of April 17th, 2023. Any additions or corrections to the minutes? If not, roll call, please. Mr. Nimitz.
Aye.
Mr. Perino.
Aye.
Mr. Thorne.
Aye.
Mr. Harney.
Aye.
Mr. Daly.
Aye.
5 affirmative votes, no negative votes, the motion so carries. The minutes are approved. Thank you one and all. Okay, the next item is the president's report. The first item on my report this evening is the governor's proclamation extending the remote meetings until May 11th. So that'll be a week from Saturday or Friday, and that will be the last time that municipalities will be allowed to have remote meetings with remote attendance counting for the quorum. As of May 11th, we resort to the old method in which you want to attend remotely. You'll have to make an application to the village clerk prior to. The meeting will then be held, and if there is a quorum, the quorum will then vote on this whether or not the missing individual can attend remotely. That will be the process after this week's. Whew, that's gonna be a long one. Okay, the next item I've got is the appointment of the village clerk. I would like to have a motion to appoint Anthony Mills to continue as the village clerk of Sleepy Hollow.
So moved. Second, Thor.
Moved by Harn, seconded by Thorne.
Third, Moreno.
Third, Brian.
Fourth by Fran. We have a
Well done.
fourth,
Yeah, I'll do.
fourth by, we have a fifth. I was never popular in high school, so. Excited, yeah. Okay, on the appointment of Anthony Mills as village clerk. I'm gonna make you do a roll call for your own appointment. Okay, Mr. Prano.
Yes.
Mr. Nimitz.
Aye.
Mr. Thorne.
Aye.
Mr. Hardy.
Aye.
Oh, gee. Mr. Datler.
Aye.
Oh, okay, 5 affirmative votes, no negative votes, the motion so carries. We have a new clerk, we need to swear you in. I know, you going to? You gonna need the swearing in of a clerk? I don't think so, it's the first time I've had to swear myself in. Yeah, sure. Oh, you mean I gotta give you a.
President.
I'll swear. I was gonna say. You can get the oath. I can get the oath. What'd you do with the oath that I, present? Okay, oh, here. There you go. You gotta remember how to do this. Raise your right hand. Repeat after me. Oh, this is great. Got to give a speaking role. I, Anthony Mills, having been duly appointed to the position of village clerk, having been duly appointed to the position of village clerk in the village of Sleepy Hollow, King County, Illinois, in the village of Sleepy Hollow, King County, Illinois, do solemnly swear that I will support the Constitution of the United States. Do solemnly swear that I will support the Constitution of the United States. Constitution of the State of Illinois. The Constitution of the State of Illinois. And the ordinances of the Village of Sleepy Hollow. And the ordinances of the Village of Sleepy Hollow. And that I will faithfully discharge the duties of the village clerk to the best of my ability. Can I read that last part? And yes, thank you. Except for it says trustee reads the village clerk. And I will faithfully discharge the duties of trustees of the village clerk to the best of my ability. Okay, thank you. My father always warned me that the third law of the universe is payback. I just saw it in action, folks. Okay, moving on to the next item under the not the governor's report, the gubernatorial proclamation has been done. We've got the appointment of the clerk. The civility pledge. And I can't imagine my surprise on April 20th, received the bulletin from the Illinois Municipal League with their civility pledge attached to it. And it was a recommendation that municipalities take a look at adopting the civility pledge as part of their ongoing agendas. So I know this is the old board moving out. I just put it on there for your information that this will be coming up to the new board. And my recommendation is that we pass the civility pledge and we make it a part of our regular agenda. We'll take on that later. The next one, this time is just as I said, FYI. The only other thing under the president's report is you all realize that today, not only being May Day, it is also New Year's Day. Our fiscal year 24 started today. So we start with a whole new budget and move forward. The sad news is that during the weekend, I received news that Elsie's gaming video closed yesterday for good. We had them in our budget as an income of approximately $18,000. So that hole will now develop in our budget. We will not see a decrease in funds for 3 or 4 months. Those kind of funds, it takes the state about 90 to 120 days to distribute. So we'll still see some funds from them for the next 2 or 3 months. Until something picks up the slack, we're gonna have that hole there. Okay, that's it for the president's report. Clerk's report. I have no report tonight. Okay, planning and zoning, Mrs. Detmer.
Yes, good evening, everyone. The Planning and Zoning Commission held a public hearing April 24th, 2023 regarding the proponent, i.e. the Village of Sleepy Hollows, request to amend the village zoning regulations by deleting certain parking regulations currently set out in section 8-3A-3D. It is intended that parking regulations for the village will be detailed in section 5-3A-9 of the village code. The public hearing was appropriately published April 7th, 2023 in the Daily Herald newspaper. The PZC has determined the following findings of fact in accordance with the village zoning code. 1, the change would streamline process and improve the enforcement, which would benefit the citizens and police. And 2, more consistent with other neighboring jurisdictions. By unanimous vote, the commission approved the findings of fact. By unanimous vote, the Planning and Zoning Commission voted to recommend section 8-3A-3D be deleted from the zoning code for your consideration. End of report.
Okay, thank you, Mrs. Detmer.
You're welcome.
Okay, and we move on to the attorney's report.
Consistent with Ms. Detmer's comments, you have before you tonight a draft ordinance that would adopt parking regulations as part of the traffic regulations of the village and delete same from the previous location in the zoning regulations. The proposed regulations are a little bit different. but similar, covering the same topics. And come to you from the police department and the code enforcement officer in relation to the experience they've had in enforcement of these types of regulations in the past. So for your consideration, as an ordinance would amend the regulations for stopping, standing, or parking and storing of certain vehicles, trailers, watercraft, snowmobiles, and other items.
This would be ordinance 2023-7. We have a motion to approve ordinance 23-7.
So moved. Second.
Moved by Thorne, seconded by Nimitz. To approve ordinance 2023-7. Any further comments, questions, or debate?
Yeah, a couple things. One, I want to check on. Getting to the first part of it here. Under the first one, commercial vehicle with the registration of it designated as a D plate. What is the weight on that D plate? I want to make sure we have clarifications as far as the vehicle weight.
12,000 pounds.
12,000 pounds. Okay.
So just for a little history for the people that were around, Steve was the only one around. We had Chief Lenane come in. When did he hired on, Steve?
2012.
2012. And had gone through our ordinances to correct the things that were, I want to say unenforceable. Up to that time, we'd always been B, the actual ordinance said B plates, which he had said was unenforceable because it's out of state. That's unique to Illinois. Somehow in that process, it had gone through the whole process and it got changed to 8,000 to we're currently at 12,000 pounds now. So it was really went through zoning. At that time it was in the zoning without any discussion. It went through the board. It was just basically saying we're taking what we had and just making it legal. So I don't know, there was a lot of discussion at that time about raising the limit. Been talking to the chief and been thinking about, for a while about this, and there's pluses and minuses. I just want to make, I don't really feel strongly one way or another, but I make sure we're making the right decision. I looked around the villages around us and it's pretty consistent for 8,000. There's a couple, I can't remember, Lake in the Hills or Algonquin is 10,000. I couldn't find 12,000 pounds for any community like ours anywhere around here. West Dundee does make an exception, and I will say that every time we make an exception, it becomes more difficult to enforce. But they do have an exception, I believe, when registered with the village for heavier vehicles up to 10,000 pounds. I could be wrong. I have to look, it's going on to look at for that are service vehicles for people that have a need to have 24-hour service, such as heating, air conditioning, plumbing, electrical, railroad workers as such. I would feel more comfortable. We went back to 10 or 8,000 pounds. It seems more in character, especially since the character of our village seems to come up so much, and I was able to dig up. I was just curious what a 12,000 pound vehicle truck looked like, and I was able just to look on used truck sites around here, and I sent it to Tony. I believe he forwarded everybody their copy of the pictures. It's a pretty good sized box truck that you can get for 12,000 pounds. Anything F-150, big F-150 Expedition, otherwise I could find everything is well under 8,000 pounds. So it's just the consideration that maybe we want to rethink that or think it over to another meeting to have some discussion, because if I read this correctly, you could have somebody has a smaller RV, they got a Sprinter type van, and RV plates would be unable to have it, and their neighbor could have a bigger box truck in their driveway. So it just seems like, to be fair, we should be consistent across what we're doing. And to go along with Anthony's point that there's several people that want sheds because of storage issues. You could have a really good sized box truck, as witnessed from those pictures, in your yard that you could just use your storage shed. If you had plates on it, you wouldn't even need to have an engine in it, I guess. I mean, as long as it's plates on it, it's operable, you could use that as your storage in your driveway. So I just think we just need to be careful about what we do here moving forward. So
So let me make a comment. In the 4 years I've been planning and zoning trustee, I know that, working with Jeff Fleck, code enforcer, it's come up quite a number of times in, his, it's really, it's not his lack of ability, it's his lack of being able to determine what is sitting on the driveway without walking on the person's property, which is not permitted to do. There's been numerous areas, we see it all the time. This was one way to remove it from the code and pass it to the police department for better enforcement. We also, in regarding in this, so the other piece of the other piece of paper that you gave us here. So when you look at class 2, says 6,000 to 10,000, and this shows examples of various vehicles: step van, full-size pickup, cargo van, minivan. Class 3, which goes 10,000 to 14,000, and if right now the ordinance is written at class D, which we determined is 12,000, right? So when you look at this example, 10 to 14, you have a walk-in truck, which reminds me of the old bread trucks from Philadelphia. Box truck, which, you know, if you're gonna have the 15-foot U-Haul from over there in your driveway, city delivery, you know, big Amazon truck. The only one I'm questioning here, you have heavy duty pickup. So if I'm kind of leaning towards what you're saying, Joe, because if 12,000, if we can cover everything from 6 to 10, right? But what's the heavy duty pickup?
Well, and I just kind of, just to put that in, you know, I found that, I thought it was just a good general thing.
Yeah,
If you look at the ones for sale, it really gives you a good idea of what's out there, and you can see some of the RVs are much smaller, so. I can, and it is, I would go to the cheap. So if I have a Sprinter van with RV plates on it now, can I put car plates on that? Is there any restriction on that? Is there a reason that you have to have RV?
You wouldn't be able to put passenger plate,
Okay,
so because of the weight, it would be limited to that. One of the issues with the 12,000-pound thing and the D plate, the reason that I suggested that
Yeah.
go to the D plate. I get what you're saying about eliminating the box trucks, I understand it, but I when we started this project, it was probably almost a year ago now. I drove around town, and I tried to see what vehicles were out there with D plates. Almost every vehicle I saw was a pickup truck. So, and I think they do that because of what they're pulling, not because of what they're carrying, okay? So you can write into the ordinance, I'm not saying as written, it has to stay. You can write in the ordinance that any D-plated vehicle that is not considered a pickup truck would be excluded, which I think would address.
that would be, I think that's what I'm hearing from, I had a couple of conversations with people, that's the issue we're having, so.
So, I mean, that would be easy, and I know there are ordinances written that way, so that would be something easy, would still allow people to use their pickup trucks the way they would need, especially if it is an HD pickup truck in that way.
And I know I've had conversations with you and Mr. Fleck in the previous one, and every time we put exceptions in, we always stumble over ourselves. What are your thoughts about putting an exception for people that had a business that they had to have that truck there for 24-hour service, let's say 500, getting a special sticker, putting an increased price on it for enforcement? Because if Mr. Fleck or police officer or whoever saw a larger truck in the driveway, you could run the plates and know that that is legal and registered here, and you'd have to have some reason for it. Would that be too much of a heartache, or would that be?
I think if we were to ask Jeff Black to man the program like that, we'd probably lose Jeff Black.
Okay, that's, I know, because it's right. I know the dates and the 3 days
Would that
and
type
all
of
the things
truck
we've done,
though
yeah.
be, would that kind of like somebody's an electrician has their, so would that type of truck be in less than 12,000 pounds?
Yes. Yeah, no doubt.
So I kind of like, you know, thanks Chief for the
Yeah.
explanation. You know, because I think I think we still have to keep a little bit of a broad base here. And I'll say the positive thing first, by not excluding a heavy duty pickup truck, we would be excluding the delivery vans, the box trucks, and the walk-in trucks.
So is it worthwhile, so we don't make sure we get this right, is just to delay this? Do we get the wording right? Or Mark, can we do the wording as such? What's the better way of doing this to
What
get?
you want him to do is make an amendment to the motion to approve.
Right, but I mean, Mark, can you give us wording that would be, that we want to do this now? Can we?
I've lost track of what it is.
We're trying to go.
Let me make a motion.
1A, your address, where it says any commercial vehicle with a registration plate designation above D,
Or,
then you would say accept.
and I believe there's a weight in there too, is there not, Anthony, I don't have it in front of me.
There is in B.
B, so we'd want to eliminate, well, it says commercial, well. Are we gonna get ourselves into trouble by saying commercial over?
No, the state.
No, that
State
should,
includes anything
that
over
should
like
exclude
a
a personal
commercial.
truck.
Yeah, the personal truck would be exempt, so could we do? Do you want to do it that way and say? We have commercial vehicles and then we have personal pickup trucks, so is there better wording that you'd like to see that, because we have no issue. If somebody wants to get a heavy duty pickup truck and haul around their fifth wheel, you need something that big. And I don't think that there's that much difference between seeing somebody with F-150 in their driveway and a F-250. So is there, but, thank you. Yeah, I have no, I don't think anybody has an issue with that, so.
And I think if we were to put in there, just wording in there that says that any vehicle with a D plate that is not in the frame of a pickup truck.
That's, I say, Mark, how do we, so we don't want commercial vehicle, so Anthony. and-
So I think that the amendment to the motion would be to allow Class D plate with not to exceed 12,000 pounds, which would include which would allow a heavy duty pickup truck.
Right. So can we do this wording now for the amendment, so it's legally sticking, Mark, or do you need more time to, or the chief?
I would say my suggestion would be, let's take the time to make sure that. we
That's-
get the wording right, rather than just try and.
So I will move that we postpone the vote on this ordinance until the first meeting in June, so we have the attorneys here, first meeting in June.
All right.
And I'd be more than willing, any citizens got input on this, reach out to me, give me, give me some feedback on it, and I'd be more than willing to try and write that in as well as we can. The issue I don't want to get into all those carve outs. When we start getting.
Yeah, I agree. We've stumbled over ourselves for so many times. Yes, I agree.
But we want to.
And I hate to carve it out. But maybe we want to talk about the small RVs, and I don't know how you carve that out or how you make that legitimate, because I know we have some handicapped people otherwise that have small Sprinter vans that have RV plates on them, and we certainly want that.
Well,
The difference, a small van like that is not that big, but it's,
Wouldn't that then fall under the weight? It's the weight piece.
no, RVs are RVs, period.
RVs are RVs.
So I mean, I don't know.
It doesn't delineate between a 10-foot NRV versus a 40.
Right, because I know you can have a 7,000-pound RV that's lighter than a car, so. I'll leave your Mr. Flex creativity there, so.
Okay, we have a motion to postpone until June 6th or June 5th, 6/5.
I'll second that.
Who made the motion?
Joe.
Joe made the motion to postpone until June 5th, 2023, seconded by Thorne. Any comments, questions, or discussion on the postponement until the 5th of June?
Just a quick note, I know I won't be on the board, but let's make sure that between now and then, the wording is hashed out, the
That's
descriptions
why
are
we're
hashed out,
postponing it.
right, and then that way,
Yeah, I'll consult with the chief and we'll, and this reflect to the extent necessary to
Thank you.
express the intent of this discussion.
Yeah.
In an enforceable way.
Okay, so we just got it on the 5th. All right.
We good to ask
Further
questions?
Comments or questions? Roll call, please. Mr. Moreno.
Aye.
Mr. Dadley.
Aye.
Mr. Harney.
Aye.
Mr. Thorne.
Aye.
Mr. Nimitz.
Aye.
5 affirmative votes, no negative votes, motion so carries. The motion or the motion for 23-7 will be postponed until the 5th of June, 2023. Anything else for the attorney?
No, sir.
All right, engineer, Mr. Steele.
Nothing to report this time.
All right, thank you, sir. Director of Finance, Mr. Van.
Request a motion for the approval of the accounts payable in the amount of $100,770 $7.02.
So moved.
Second, Hardy.
Moved by Nimick, seconded by Arnie to approve the warrants of this May 1st, 2023 in the amount of $100,777.02. Any additions, deletions, comments, or questions concerning the warrants? There being none, roll call please.
Mr. Thorne.
Aye.
Mr. Dattley.
Aye.
Mr. Parado.
Aye.
Mr. Hardy.
Aye.
Mr. Nimitz.
Aye.
5 affirmative votes and no negative votes, the motion so carries. Well. Okay, anything else? Finance? Yep. Thank you, Eugene. Is there a comments sheet filled out back there, or did it disappear? Okay. Quite read,
Yulita,
Lita
packet,
packet,
Ponte.
okay. Ma'am, you got 4
I,
minutes?
I just want to know what the ruling is for, or what the allowance is for RVs in the summertime. Because there's such an issue, so I bring mine in and out as I go places and I have to park it there for 3 days, and then somebody always comes and says something. Why are we not allowed to bring it in and off of our property? If I'm paying the taxes for this property, why is this not my property? If this is your property, why aren't you paying the taxes for it? I mean, I just want to bring my RV and not have somebody pull up and give me a warning that I have to move it in 24 hours.
That's the rule.
That's the rule, ma'am. This is a public comment. It's not a Q&A. If you have questions, I suggest you call the front desk tomorrow morning and ask the clerk, and the clerk will pass you on most likely to the chief.
They just keep passing and no one calls. So what's the point of the board if I can't come to the board and ask? them?
Ma'am, public comments.
Public comments, when are you gonna resign? How about that comment?
Comment,
There you go.
but it's more of a question.
Mm,
No,
More than you needed.
no. go ahead. Okay, next, Mr. Novak,
He's not speaking. I thought there was a sign-in sheet.
okay, Mr. Weber.
Yeah, so this RV trailer parking, anything under 20 is already fine, or what is the ordinance actually saying?
At this point, what is the ordinance actually saying? It's been up for modification. I mean, you can go online and pull up our code book and read the ordinance as it states now. And then come back up to the 5th of June and see what the variances will be or the changes will be.
Okay, so there's no public comment on how you handle that?
Sir, this is not a Q&A. It is a public comment. You are allowed to make comments, but we're not going to get into a full-blown discussion and answer all the questions of you.
Oh, that's fine, but I got a long driveway that goes back to the end of the house, and that's where I parked the under 20-foot trailer. I pay the registration fee, you know, just like they ask. And never had an issue. I moved here over 10 years ago now. That was part of it, but the beauty of Sleepy Hollow was another part of it. So I just don't get where something like that just comes up.
It doesn't just come up. It was in the ordinance all this time, sir.
Okay, but there was no letter sent. I heard earlier it was in the Daily Herald. I don't get a Daily Herald. So, you know, you ought to think about the people that are actually living here.
We do, sir. There's a website.
They don't.
There's a front door.
So it's a matter of finding out on your own. Okay, that's unfortunate.
All right, John Payton,
No comments. That was the same sheet.
okay. Next one is David Chaddock.
Yep.
Sir,
So if it is comment, so let me start by saying, for all of you that serve, I know this is often a thankless job, so thank you. I'm gonna come back to that in a little bit. I'm here to talk about what I've seen the last couple of weeks, something we all care about. Everybody in here, I know folks that clean up, I know folks that care. Look at the audience that we have, look at the audience we had last week. People are here to try to make a difference. You are here to support us. You're supposed to represent us. I'm not trying to rehash any of the number of issues, whether it's the RV situation, the parking situation, the storage situation. What I am here to address is how we go about it. If I look at the agenda tonight, and I look at what happened last week when we we're talking about storage facility, what I see is, let's put it up behind some print, let's make sure that we don't really advertise it, and let's put it on the agenda before we hear from the people that you're here to represent. That's what I take issue with. Last week, Mr. Emmett, I saw you sense the room, act like a human. I respect you for it. Anthony, I saw you try to do the right thing, postpone this because the time wasn't right. I respect you for it. Sorry, I can't say the name and I forget, but I saw you say, I have a point in your best interest. I may respect you for that. We never heard what it was. When we're talking about this issue tonight, the fact that there is no Q&A, go look at the website. Then you can come back on the next meeting and you can see what they changed without having any input. So I respect a great deal what you said, that you're offering to take input, but I'm sorry. We have way more respect for the police than to go around worrying about zoning ordinances. There's far greater things to worry about, right? We all care. If we want to have a nice community, it's fine to say, okay, if you got unlicensed something on cinder blocks, we're going to take issue with it. I get that, but I pay my taxes. Those vehicles are licensed. I can fit 33 vehicles on my driveway if I so choose to. I don't do that. That would be an eyesore. By this ordinance, I would legally be able to do so. I don't do that out of respect, right? If we want to play by the letter of the law, that's a different situation, but there is plenty of legal precedent already for people having gone through this in every community out there. Go ahead, look it up. I'm sure you'll find this out when you go through and try to do this. You cannot set foot on property to look at somebody's license plate tag, see what's in their trailer or anything. So this is a slippery slope, and I still have yet to hear what is the problem. Why are we debating this as opposed to why don't we talk about how we're going to get more revenue so we can fix the potholes on the street in front of my driveway before we worry about what's on my driveway? That's my comment. I'm here, we're all here. We will get behind you, we will support you, but if you keep ramming this thing down by hiding it, without listening, without offering Q&A, without representing the people that are here, taking time out of their lives to make this place better, then why do the overarching theme I heard last week, everybody walked out the door. Why do I even bother? That is way more dangerous to me in this community than anything to do with parking or storage facility or tax revenue. When you get a whole community that doesn't care, that's when you're going to have a big problem. So I'm here to support you, but we all want to make this something that works. It can't be hey, I say this, and when we have a problem with this ordinance, then those rules are, we're going to veto it no matter what. But when you want an ordinance, it happens like that. That needs to stop. Thank you.
Next one, Kyle Ming.
Good evening. Hope you guys had a good weekend. I know most of the folks here on the board. For everyone else that doesn't know me, I'm Kyle Meng. I am in Gale Lane in the upper part of Sleepy Hollow. So in 2006, my parents went and bought a boat. And we've been since riding it every summer. Some summers we haven't gotten it out as much, unfortunately. And in the winter months, every year on time, we always send it off to have it stored somewhere. We spend $750 every winter to make sure it's not here.
Yeah.
Same with our snowmobiles. We respect the villages, not wanting that to sit there all summer. So we take it to a similar facility, which is an additional $750. That doesn't include our waterway stickers and all the other fines that come with it. I know it doesn't have anything to do with the village, but they say boat stands for breakout another 1,000. And we're spending more than that at this point just to enjoy it. I like to tinker. I fix our boats. I fix our snowmobiles. I don't keep them torn apart on cinder blocks, leaving them laid out across the yard, defacing property value of my neighbors. I tend to respect their privacy and their right to have their neighbor's house does not look like garbage. In not allowing us to do this, we are going to be spending a lot more money. It's going to basically force us to sell it because for 360 days out of the year, we won't get to see it. It's going to fall apart unfortunately, because I cannot fix major issues in under 24 hours. I ask you to reconsider. I will be speaking with the chief outside of the meeting to see if we can come up with a better solution to this that all the people of the village would find agreeable. There has to be a middle ground between the both of these, and I hope we can find it. And that's it. Thanks for your time.
For public comment, and to the trustee reports, roads and parks, Mr. Harney.
If you haven't noticed, there was a full-size yellow semi that came through the village on Friday, guided by the chief himself. The new playground equipment has arrived. It's being stored at Public Works. The weather, as you can see, isn't conducive to an immediate installation, but the installers were here also examined the part. And according to the installers, it would be, in their words, a week, a good week, and they'll start the installation. That's all I have to report.
Okay,
Yeah, we just-
thank you. Finance, there's no report at the moment. Move on to water and sewer, Mr. Nimitz.
I should probably, so Eugene shared it, you shared with everybody, just with me and. About the pricing. The pricing, when we originally started this water main replacement project years ago, interest rate for next to nothing, construction was very cheap. Just feel like going to a meeting, but last while ago. And so the prices were going up. Eugene had just got an email from somebody else questioning, but it looks now like. The prices probably from when we started this whole thing 3.5 years ago have rippled. So it looks like we're either gonna have, it's gonna cost 3 times as much, or we'll do a third as much, and that's assuming we can get money from the state, so. But initially, when we planned the money we got from the state, from the, was that ARPA money? Yeah. That we might have had enough to go all the way and replace Hillcrest from Locust almost up to Thoroughbred. We're down to less than a third of that now.
We're, sorry, just looking at the distance wise is probably it's Locust all the way up to, what's the second intersection from Thoroughbred?
Come on. Hillcrest or Hazel?
No, it's not Hazel. Hemlock or Hazel?
Either way,
Okay.
about 2/3 the way along Hillcrest there is.
Good,
that's
okay.
where we're gonna be.
But I just like, it's the last little bit of good news, so that's it.
All right,
That's all I have.
that's
Thank you.
it.
It's been a pleasure, Steve.
Joe, it's been a long time since we've had red water.
Yeah, that's true. That goes back to
Started
the
with
last
red water.
century.
Last century. Yeah.
We're getting there slowly but surely.
So it should, we said at that time it would take 20 years. It's been 25.
We got the water cleared up and we got the plastic pipes replaced. We're getting there slowly but surely. We're turning to a real water department.
Okay, thank you, Joe.
Thanks.
Appreciate all your work. Police and public safety, Mr. Diatlin.
No report tonight.
Steve. Building and environment, Mr. Thorne.
No report, Mr. President.
Thank you, Mark. Building and zoning, Mr. Pareno. Any last parting words?
Yes, sir. One thing real brief and one thing maybe more brief. I just want to thank the board for the 4 years of good conversation and spirited debate. We all have our own ideas, and yet, we throw things out onto the table and discuss them. At least we come to some conclusions and some guidance. The other thing, and it's interesting, excluding the conversation that we had during public comments, just for a moment. I don't want the room to get all up in arms here. We all got our tax bill today, at least I did. And the one thing I wanted to really point out, and I've been a resident of Sleepy Hollow for 9 years, I will continue to be a resident of Sleepy Hollow, although my term on the board is over this evening. But my tax bill is $7,616. And as building and zoning trustee, one of the things that always comes up is ordinances and zoning and requirements and building, all of that. The Sleepy Hollow portion of my $7,616 tax bill is $617.64. You know, the biggest one, of course, is the school district. And then, you know, another one that's pretty substantial in my mind is the Dundee Park District. So I'm just gonna throw out an idea, and I'm only throwing it out because, you know, sitting on the board for the last 4 years and knowing money has always been tight and originally I was on the Planning and Zoning Commission. I was one of the guys that voted to approve Maxway Motors, you know, and that kind of imploded, right? But we really, really need to think that it's 2023. And I'm just gonna throw out a small little figure. We've tried to do tax increases over the years, they've been unsuccessful. Just think for 1 minute. If every resident, 1,100 houses, contributed $5 a month more than that 600, than what my total tax bill is. And let me check my math. If we did it, because that's a half a year, we would gain, roughly, we'd gain $120 times 1,100 houses. The village would gain $132,000. That could go in so many different ways. How many of us, I stopped going to Starbucks because I was spending too much money. They changed the stars on me. You know, I love the fact that the audience is full, but I'm telling you guys, you know, I've served and I've listened and I felt pain and I felt happy and I felt, you know, successful and I felt depressed. But unless all of us step up to do something to support the village of Sleepy Hollow moving forward, you know, when I come back, you know, every couple of years, I hope the village Sleepy Hollow is still here. That all falls on every one of us. We're all residents. And just, I'm not suggesting we're doing a tax increase, but what I'm suggesting is, let's really sit down and think about what $5 a month is. It's not a lot of money.
I throw in 20 for a shed.
So that's all I have. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Anthony. Old business. You have any old business to come before the board? No old business to come before the board, any new business to come before the board? There being no new business to come before the board,
I would like to move to adjourn this session.
sign Dine.
I second that.
Okay, moved by Nimick, seconded by Moreno, to adjourn, sign G. Mendes, or whatever it is.
That's why I said session.
Or CNDA.
If I'm not correct, that's the session, right, is what we.
Right, it ends the business of this board without future date. No future date.
Okay, roll call, please. Mr. Moreno,
Aye.
Mr. Nimitz,
Aye.
Mr. Thorne,
Aye.
Mr. Harney,
Aye.
Mr. Depp.
Aye.
5 affirmative votes, no negative votes, the motion so carries. We adjourn. Gentlemen, it's been a pleasure serving with you, Anthony and Joe. Best of luck. Okay, we'll take about a 10-minute break here and then we'll reconvene.
Okay.
We have beer. I'll get down the ground. Say that.
All right. Call the meeting to order. Yeah, pledge. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. And say it's down. Roll call, please. Mr. Harney. Here. Mr. Thorne. Here. This is the only two presently in the board. I was the only two present on the board, so we've got a meeting. We've got no minutes. We've got the president's report. And the president's report, once again, we've got the gubernatorial remote attendance that is allowed this time, but not after May 11th. The next item on our agenda is the oath of office to the 23 election result holders. Those of you that were on the ballot for trustee, 3-year or the 3 4-year slots and the 1 2-year slot. So we should have 4 of you here with us this evening. Mrs. McGuire, Mrs. Thompson, Mrs. Bowe, and Mr. Diatley. Would you like to come forward and take the oath of office?
We're gonna do it all in mass, because 4 times run out, my voice is gonna be gone. So, you should have, I gave, those in front of. Notice that it's the color suitable for framing at your own cost. Fine. She's already carried an incredible burden of getting this thing done, and I do appreciate it. Okay. You saw me mess it up, so let's see if you guys can do it better. Okay, raise your right hand and repeat after me. I,
Courtney Bowe.
Kelly
Thomas. Jennifer McGuire.
Steve Diatley.
having been duly sworn to the position of village trustee
Having been duly elected to the position of the village trustee
in the village of Sleepy Hollow, King County, Illinois.
in the village of Sleepy Hollow, King County, Illinois.
Do solemnly swear that I will support the Constitution of the United States,
Do solemnly swear that I will support the Constitution of the United States,
the Constitution of the State of Illinois,
the Constitution of the State of Illinois,
and the ordinances of Sleepy Hollow, Village of Sleepy Hollow,
and the ordinances of the village of Sleepy Hollow,
and that I will faithfully discharge the duties of trustee to the best of my ability.
and that I will faithfully discharge the duties of the office of village trustee to the best of my ability.
Okay, folks, you know what what's going to be ahead of you. We're giving you seats. Please have a seat. You are now members of the board.
Well done.
This is not.
Oh, you know. Welcome one and all. The beginning of another session. Board of Trustees. The first thing on our agenda is the civility pledge. As I said, it showed up here on April 20th, 3 days after the meeting of April 17th. And it didn't take me too long to look through this and decide that it was definitely something that needed to be added to this agenda going forward. The events of April 17th were a bit embarrassing. And I think that the civility pledge showing up when it did, is a very good thing. And I will read to you resolution number 520. What is it here? Where'd you put it, Anthony? I put it in the pen. I don't know, I'm looking for it.
It's in the beginning.
Yeah, it's in the beginning. Oh, give me that. That's down into the appropriations on it. Okay.
Page number 3.
Oh, I got it. Okay, resolution number 553, a resolution of the Village of Sleepy Hollow adopting the civility pledge. I'm going to read this word by word. Whereas the Village of Sleepy Hollow, Illinois, known as the Village from henceforth, recognizes that the public exchange of diverse ideas, viewpoints, and robust debate are essential to the democratic self-governance. And whereas the president and the board of trustees of the village, as elected officials of the village, recognize the importance of engaging in free and spirited debate while maintaining the highest standards of civility, honesty, and mutual respect. And whereas the Illinois Municipal League, known as the IML, has adopted the civility pledge, which encourages the core tenets of civility. And whereas the civility pledge states, quote, "In the interest of civility, I pledge to promote civility by listening, being respectful of others, acknowledging that we are all striving to support and improve our community, and understanding that we each may have different ideas for achieving that objective," unquote. And whereas in order to publicly declare a commitment to civil discourse and express concern for the common good and well-being of all residents of the village, the presidents and the board of trustees of the village have determined it to be in the best interest of the village to adopt this resolution. Now, therefore, be it resolved by the president and the board of trustees of the Village of Sleepy Hollow, Illinois, as follows. 1, the following sections. Section 1, The foregoing recital shall be and hereby incorporated as findings of fact, as if said recitals were fully set forth herein. 2, the civility pledge as set forth in this resolution is hereby adopted. And 3, the elected and appointed officials of Sleepy Hollow, Illinois are asked to sign the civility pledge and adhere to it during all public meetings and in all official actions on your behalf of the village. We lead by example, guys. Yeah, the attitudes and the expression that was expressed in this room on the 17th were not on this side of the table. As I said, we lead by example, and therefore, when this came out from the IML a couple of weeks ago, I saw a chance to put this on our agenda going forward. So if we have a motion to so approve resolution 553.
So move Diatley.
Second, Harden.
Moved by Diatley, seconded by Harden. To approve of resolution 553. Any further comments, questions, or discussion? If not, roll call, please.
Mr. Harding,
Aye.
Mr. Thorne.
Aye.
Mr. McGuire,
Aye.
Ms. Thomas,
Aye.
Ms. Bo,
Aye.
we're gonna miss.
Diatley.
Oh, Mr. Data.
Aye.
Back, Mr. Data.
Yeah.
6-0.
6 affirmative votes, no negative votes. One and all, I thank you. And this will become a part of our agenda going forward. It will be read into the record by a trustee that I will select at the beginning of each meeting right after the roll call. So we will also post it on the back so that the audience may read it when they enter the room. Okay. The next item under the president's report is the appointment of trustees for the coming period. Okay. Know that the appointments are made with the advice and consent of the board, and so with your consent, gentlemen and ladies, roads and parks, I'd like to appoint Mr. Harney. To finance, I appoint Mr. Thorne. To water and sewer, I appoint Ms. Ball. To police and public safety, Mr. Diatley. To buildings and environment, Mrs. McGuire. And to building and zoning, Ms. Thomas. And then all other appointments will remain the same. If I can, so I have a motion. We have a motion first.
So move Diatley.
Second.
Moved by Diatley, seconded by Thorne. Any comments, questions, or discussion? No.
So the 2-year, I thought was for the finance. Was that it?
No, there is no electing toward a particular position. Those are appointed by the board president. Comments and questions? A motion to, okay, we have a motion in a second. Roll call, please.
Excuse me. Ms. Bo,
Aye.
Mr. Thorne.
Aye.
Mr. Harney.
Aye.
Ms. McGuire.
Aye.
Who am I missing? Ms. Thomas
Aye.
and Mr. Hadley.
Aye.
I don't have my cheat sheet with all the names listed, so I have trouble bouncing back and forth. I apologize.
Okay, 6 affirmative votes and no negative votes, and motion so carries. I thank you one and all. The new members of the board, there are a couple of things that we will need to be taken care of here with you in the near future. First off, you should be getting a copy of the budget, which we have approved last month. I hate to tell you that the income has already taken a hit of 18K. But you should have a copy of that. The other thing I've asked Mr. Van to do is provide you all with the purchase order process. We depend upon the purchase order within the village on any purchases. They must be signed. He's got an outline with the qualifications on the amounts and how many signatures are necessary or needed on those. So that is a item that we would go through. The other thing is you all will be receiving a village email in the very near future. It will be your first initial and your last name at sleepyhollil.org. And that will come to you through our IT department. It is operated through West Dundee. We have a cooperative agreement with West Dundee. So you'll get emails assigned from them. Also, we will be assigning you a village phone number. The village phone number will go to a voicemail alert to you. It will not ring a phone in you. It will just send you an email that you have gotten a phone call to that message, to that number, and then you can return the call. Let's see, the other thing, in the next couple of days, we will be providing you with a village issued laptop and a key to the building. So the current laptops have been retrieved from the prior trustees. They will be scrubbed clean the next couple of days and then returned, and we will get them to you, and then you will be online. Your phones, if you wish to get the emails on your phones, most likely what you'll have to do is make an appointment with IT and go over to IT in West Dundee, and one of the techs over there will help you set it up. So, that's it, I think. We got phones, emails, purchase orders, the budgets. Anything we miss? I know if Thorne tries to sell you tickets to the elevator, I'll buy it. We only have the second floor and the stairways up there.
And as a practical matter, if you can't reach them, the clerk is available. Gravity's alive and well in the village of Sleepy Hollow, if you get my metaphor here. And yeah, I'll be giving you, I have the same thing you will have, and that's a rollover voicemail. I live by the silly beep that goes on my cell phone, so be gentle. And anything after 7 o'clock at night, that's not a meeting night. You take your chances on the response you get from the clerk. If you catch that drift. And on that note, again, welcome to the board. This will be the ride of your life. I absolutely guarantee you.
The education. Okay, anything else for the clerk's report?
Nope, that'll do it.
All right, thank you. Planning and zoning, Mrs. Detmer.
No report, but welcome to all the new board members.
Thank you, Ms. Detmer. Attorney's report.
No report, sir.
Mr. Schuster, thank you. Engineer report.
Just give you an update on the street program is, the June meeting is, I'll have all the documents ready for us to go out to bid. And then we'll hopefully not have strike this year and make sure you're done on time.
Do we also want to hope that the petroleum prices don't go up?
I've been told anywhere from 10 to 25%.
All right, well, let's get it out there as soon as we can. Thank you, Jeff. Director of Finance, Mr. Van.
So I had printed out for the new board members, the budget and it's on the package by your nameplates. I've already contacted West Dundee about the laptops, the phone numbers and the emails, and I'm just waiting for their response. That's it.
Okay, thank you, Eugene. Comment sheet is still around, or is that? Oh, it's in already. Mr. English.
Good evening, everyone. I'm also the president of the Seagull Service Club, and we had our 6550 dinner Saturday night. 65 years the village has been incorporated, and 50 years of the service club, and the turnout was phenomenal. And I wanted to personally thank previous board. There was many that showed up. The current board, again, many that participated. Some of the people in the audience also participated. It's your participation that allows us to continue to do the things for the village that we do, try to make this a great place to raise a family. And in closing, I just want to say, besides thank you again, if there's any golfers in the room, and we do have a golf outing which we're planning in August, and all the proceeds from Saturday night and from the golf outing are going to the service club, making improvements in and around the park area. So you'll see a return on your investment right away. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, Kyle Ming.
Well, good afternoon. I'm just gonna do a one more time for the new members of the board and kind of formally redo everything. My name's Kyle. I live up on Gale Lane. There's gonna be something coming forward here soon about potentially removing the ability to park a lot of things on the village. Like our boats and our snowmobiles. I'm hoping to have a further discussion about that. My family has spent a lot of money over the years to make sure that we can keep these items on our property, including a $6,000 side drive. And yeah, thank you. I look forward to working with you all and getting to see you guys for a few years. Good luck.
Thank you, Kyle. Okay, back to the agenda, trustee reports, roads and parks, Mr. Harney.
Nothing new to report.
You sure? Okay, thank you, Ed. Finance, Mr. Thorne.
I'll defer to Eugene.
The village operates under an appropriation system. Municipalities, we can have either a budget system or an appropriation system. We've opted to do the appropriation. However, our guiding principles are our budget. So our appropriation is the maximum amount that the village can spend on any one section. We can't go above 10% of it. So we are binding ourselves to it. So basically what I've done is I've taken our budget and I've added 10% to most of the items. Some items I've had to double. But it just says that this is the absolute maximum that the village will spend. So this is just to give you a preview of what we'll be voting on May 15th. At 7 o'clock on May 15th, we'll have a public hearing for the appropriation for any public comments. And then we will vote on the appropriation on May 15th at 7:30.
Okay.
This is something that has to be done within the first quarter of the new year.
Okay. Anything else, Mr. Thorne?
Nope.
All right, thank you, Mark. Water and sewer, Ms. Ball?
I'm looking forward to working on this and I have no report at this time.
Okay, thank you, Courtney. Police and public safety, Mr. Diatley.
Yeah, just one thing, Chief shared with me, and this is something we very rarely get. An officer did a traffic stop, and after the traffic stop, the person who was stopped actually contacted the chief and thanked him because the officer was so nice and respectful, strong-willed, but very, empathetic to the cause. And she actually wrote a letter back to the village. So it's something we very rarely get. So I wanted to bring that to the attention. It's Officer Erica Brown. And they were very pleased with how professional she was and how she was treated them. And even though they got a ticket. So, that's pretty darn good, I think. And I think that speaks to our chief and his leadership style and what he does with our police force. So thank you, Chief. Thank you, Officer Brown. Any comments to add?
No, I don't usually get thank yous from pickups. This way to write a letter and I thought it merited a mention.
That's all.
All right, thank you, Steve. Thank you, Chief. Building and environment, Ms. McGuire.
No report today.
All right, thank you, ma'am. Building and zoning, Ms. Thomas.
No report, but I look forward to working with everybody and residents, open to suggestions. Bring to the board.
All right. Thank you, Kelly. Old business, any old business coming for the board? New board, no, I don't think we've even made any new business. Okay, moving on to new business, item A deals with live streaming of the regular business meeting. As I've been saying for the past, geez, it's almost been 3 years now, the gubernatorial announcement allowed us the ability to conduct meetings remotely and attend meetings remotely. Going forward, we do not have that we do not have that option at this point. However, there's nothing to stop us from continuing to record this thing and stream it live for the village. You know, we won't have the ability for Mr. Harney to say, I'm going to the North Woods, June to August, I'll meet you on remote. We can't do that this year. You'll have to be here in person. Or else we follow the procedure that I outlined earlier, which is kind of draconian, where you have to make an application to the clerk has to bring it to the board, there has to be a quorum present in the boardroom to make the decision whether or not you can attend remotely. So, but streaming of it and making it live on YouTube, we can continue to do without state authority. So my question to you, the rest of this board, I would prefer to see it, and I would like to see them in May that we continue to do so, as long as we have the volunteer help to get this stuff done.
So moved.
Second.
Moved by Thorne, seconded by McGuire to continue streaming live recordings of the village board meetings. Well, as long as we have volunteer help available to get the job done. Any other comments, questions, or discussion on that? Okay, roll call, please.
Ms. McGuire.
Aye.
Mr. Harney.
Aye.
Ms. Thomas.
Aye.
Mr. Dattley.
Aye.
Ms. Bo.
Aye.
Mr. Thorne.
Aye.
All right, 6 affirmative votes, no negative votes, and so carries. Thank you, one and all. Next item. Adjournment.
And we have a motion to adjourn. Work, knows what to do here.
Second.
Moved by Arnie, seconded by Thomas. Adjourn. All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? Motion carried. We will see you on the 15th of May.
That's my son and that's my daughter. Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Right.
Yeah, yes, I gotta.